Oh dear, well, Wednesday morning here at Atherstone, which is quite a nice place to be. I'm just short of the visitor moorings here, but I really need to get going now because I want to get up these locks if I can. I woke up this morning and the canal was frozen, but as you can see it's broken up now because four boats have come down. I think they might have all been at the visitor mooring just the other side of that bridge. So we'll see what I find when I get there. If the locks are too frozen, then I'll have to just back down to the visitor mooring and stay there until things thaw out. But it is very frozen at the moment, like the as you can see, the ropes are frozen solid, and that's going to make handling a bit difficult until they loosen up. Oh, they are really stuck. Normally I can lift up the ring of rope, but they are really frozen to the roof of the cabin. Oh. Oh. This is going to be fun. Right, well, time's getting on, and these are some of the shortest days, so if I'm going to move, I need to move soon. So let's see what we find. So it's Monday, must be the 11th of December. I'm at Fradley Junction, continuing my tortuous way towards Derby, although I'm beginning to wonder if I'm actually going to get there. I've just opened the little swing bridge, and just where that green boat is, that's Fradley Junction, so I'll be going there and turning right and heading towards Arlwas. It's been a funny day this morning. Yesterday was very windy and last night. Today the weather's much better. There's a bit of a breeze still though, and there are lots of leaves in the water where I started out, and it can slow the boat down quite a bit. It's really surprising. Every now and again it's a good idea to put it into reverse and clear the prop, but after a while I was struggling to steer properly, and I realized that wasn't doing it. There was something wrapped around the prop, so I had to stop and have a delve. It's not very dramatic, but it was enough to affect the way things were working. The usual plastic bag and some cord as well, and some twigs. It's all clear now though, and we're running a lot better. So at last we'll be leaving the Coventry Canal and turning onto the Trent and Mersey. So we've come round the bend now where that blue boat is, and we're now on the Trent and Mersey, joining it in the middle of a flight I suppose, of locks. So you can see one up there in the distance, but the one I'm interested in now is this one. I've just opened one paddle and filling it up, and I can't remember, it's either 5 or 6 locks if I can get to Arlwas before it gets dark today. I've checked the CRT website this morning, and the navigation between locks 12 and 13, no, 11 and 12, that's right, yes, that stretch is still closed until further notice. So when I get to Arlwas, then that's it until things clear up. Hopefully that'll be a day or two, but we keep getting lots of more rain. It's quite a nice little junction this, isn't it? Nice little row of cottages there. And there's the Swan, which I'm sure does great trade in the summer when the canal's busier. But I'm just waiting now for this to fill up, and then I'll be going downhill So this is lock 17. Now I can work it out now. The last lock I need to go through to get to our Arlwas is 13. So yeah, so that's 5 locks. And I hardly use my fingers at all to count those. Well, just emptying the lock now, and I just had a look at it, and of course there's this stone bridge right next to the lock, which means I can't walk the boat out from the lock like I normally do and then step back on the other side. So this is one of those occasions when I'm going to have to use the lock ladder. I don't normally like using them because they're always wet and slippy. I also noticed there's a boat coming up behind me. I wonder if he's going to turn onto the Coventry or whether he's going to follow me down the locks. We shall see. This is the 4th lock of the day, and it's number 14. Yes. So common lock. Yes. Opening and closing these double gates on the bottom of the single lock, it's always a bit of a challenge if you're a single-handed boater. Although you can see they've got those boards on the back there, so it's actually quite easy to step across that gap and grab the handrail. Except these boards are rather thin. They're about half to 2/3 the width of a normal board, so I don't fancy stepping across that. But luckily, the other thing about this lock is that the drop isn't very deep, so you can see the roof is just about level with the sides of the bank, so I was able to just walk across the roof. Saves me walking all the way down to the far end of the lock and back again. So that's good. So I'll do the same in reverse when I pull the boat through in a moment, and then carry on to the last lock of the day. Well, we've arrived at the village of Arlwas. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the spelling's a bit similar to Alresford in Hampshire. So I've just come down round the bend here through the last lock, and I'm on the visitor moorings, and along with a few other boats. The second boat in the distance on the right there, just chatted to him, he's waiting to get through, and I'm here by bridge 47. There's a boat in front of me which is a trader selling gifts of various kinds, and we're pretty much in the middle of the village and next to the churchyard or cemetery. The church is near. The church is just through the. It's just through the trees there. You can't quite see it. It's not showing up. So the general opinion is in 2 or 3 days, maybe Thursday or Friday, because it's Monday evening now, we should be able to continue, but who knows. In the meantime, go inside, put the kettle on, and I'll call the marina that's expecting me and make sure I can still get in there, because they might have had boats rushing in from all directions with the closures. So we'll see. So this is the situation Wednesday just after midday. This is a tributary of the Trent. The main river is just a little further over towards the trees, but you can see it's still in flood and flowing pretty fast as well. So and there's a number of boats tied up here, and there's a couple behind me, so there's 4 or 5 boats waiting here. So I'm just going to walk down to the next lock and see what's happening there. This is lock 12, and right in front of me there, the navigation warning board says do not proceed, hazardous conditions. What they mean is just the other side of that lock. That's the canal that's very full. I'll have a closer look in a moment. But you can see across the fields here that they're all pretty much covered in water. Let's get a closer look and you can see the current flowing. See, that's going pretty fast there. The locals tell me if we get a couple of dry days it'll calm down and we should be alright. I think it enters in two places. This tributary flows in just here. But you can see over there, look, the lock landing is underwater. You can just see the tops of the bollards that you normally tie up to as you come out of the lock. Oh yes, you can see it a lot more clearly now. This walkway is a good idea because it keeps you well above any floods. Because this is not an unusual condition, but as you can see, it just covers this whole plain. There's the church, village church there. Here's another view looking back to the village. You can possibly hear the gurgling of the water as it's flowing down. This is the main river Trent here now. You can see the fields over there are completely flooded. This shows you the rate of flow we've got. Catching up against the log, and this is the canal, somewhat wider than it normally is. You can see the water rushing out under the bridge there, and that's why they don't want boats out on here at the moment. And it's going at a fair lick even down there. The frustrating thing is that the bridge, the river flows back out of the canal at the next lock, which is not very far away, but this middle bit is judged to be too much of a handful, and so we can't go through. So I don't think they've physically locked up the lock gates, which they sometimes do, but on the other hand, if you ignore the warning and go through and then have an accident, damage the boat, the insurance company will not be interested because they'll know that there was a do not proceed sign up there, and yeah, not worth the risk. Well, I've just checked the lock again. This gate is fine, but the gate down there, the bottom gates, you can see have been locked shut. So this has now become the Lock California. You could enter, but you can't leave. So there's no point. Just sit tight. Well, Friday afternoon, nice, quite a sunny day for a little while. Got another hour and a half or so of daylight, and I'm down at Lock 12 again, and you can see in the background the red do not proceed sign has been replaced now with a yellow proceed with caution.